I found something out, and then I'm gonna end this. I found something out. My mom just told me that my grandmother was full-blood Cherokee. So I'm Native American. I was like, oh, hello. So I'm a super mutt. I don't know what I am. But this is what was so funny. I said, Mom, why you never said anything?
Yeah, she probably never said anything because, it's untrue. And that was a video from one of his rallies. That's Herschel Walker, of course, who's running for a Senate seat in Georgia. One of his rallies last month. But that wasn't the only time he claimed that he had Native American heritage in his background. At a January campaign event at the University of Georgia, he said he had just found out that his mother is 40% Native American. He repeated his claim at 4 campaign events in May as if he had just discovered it. At one, he said he just learned that his mother is a big part Native American, and it means he is part Native American too. At another, he said, again, my mom is part Native American, a big part, and it means I am other as well. Okay. And
what difference does it make? You're black. It doesn't matter. You're not the other category. You're the what?
No. It gets better. It gets better. At a June 20th campaign event in College Park, Georgia, Walker said he found out, quote, I'm part Native American, end quote, by doing a 23andMe ancestry test, which was a lie. You're about to find out in a moment. He said he wanted to acknowledge all of my family, except for his secret children, of course, referring to Native Americans. Okay. Now, Huffington Post was curious about this. They did a little journalism. They wanted to find out, is there any truth to this whatsoever? Because Herschel Walker specifically said that he had Cherokee heritage, of course.
Of course.
Of course. It's a fan fave among those who actually have no Native American heritage whatsoever. They love to say that they're part Cherokee. Well, Huffington Post reached out to 3 different Cherokee organizations to see if there's any record of Herschel Walker's family members being Native American, and the 2 of them did not respond at all, but one of them did. A spokesperson for Cherokee Nation, the largest tribal government in the United States with more than 360,000 citizens, said it has no record of Walker in its database of citizens. There is no one listed in Cherokee Nation's registration database with that name and birth date, said the tribe's spokesperson. So at that point, HuffPost was like, well, why don't we go to the source of this information? Which is, of course, Herschel Walker's mother, Christine. They reached out to her, and luckily she did agree to speak with them. Christine Walker said she grew up hearing stories about her father's mother. So Herschel Walker's great-grandmother being kin to the tribe. She was kin to Cherokee, she said during a brief phone interview on Wednesday. Back when I was a little child running around, she was kin to the Cherokee. Asked to clarify what she meant by that, she said her grandmother was believed to be related to Cherokee peoples in some way, but she didn't know how. And finally, she said, quote, I don't know how far back her apparent Cherokee ancestry went, she said. See, my grandmother, she passed when I was quite young. I don't know too much about how she was connected.
Okay, so that's the second family member now saying, you don't trust my son. Don't trust Herschel Walker. You're crazy, right? So that's the mom, and earlier, of course, his son Christian Walker was like, no, my dad is a serial liar, which we all knew already, except unless you're a Republican and you don't know anything, right?
Also, families love to tell tall tales, right?
Yeah.
Like we've all experienced it with like our family members, where they say all of these things that probably aren't true, and you shouldn't repeat them unless you have actual evidence backing it up.
Or frame it that way instead of saying it definitively. Like, so for example, there's a part of my family that I've talked about on air, and we don't know. We don't know if they're Kurdish, or they might even be from old school Crusaders, right? So I might be part French, but that's how you say it. I don't know, right? We haven't done a genetic test. He goes and bothers to actually lie. He says, I did 23andMe. I am Cherokee. This thing. But you didn't do any of those things. My mom did say this, but she didn't. We asked her. She said, no, my son's a liar, right? Like, and by the way, Herschel Walker's lies are always funny in different ways. So he says, okay, now my grandmother's full-blood Cherokee, okay? So that's why my mom is 40% Cherokee. Like, at University of Georgia, did you take a single math class? Okay, anyways, and as Anna pointed out, whenever they lie about being Native American, it's always like, and I'm Native American too, I am from, and they never say anything specific like Lenni Lenape Indians or the Iroquois tribe. That's a big tribe, right? They're always like, I'm from Cherokee, I'm Cherokee, that's what I am.
Okay, so historically speaking, people who want to pretend as if they have any background or any heritage, that's Native American, they kind of do it. I don't know. I don't really understand it, but there is a history of people doing it because they don't want to be associated with the genocide, like the white genocide of Native Americans in America, right? That's wrong. You shouldn't do that. Don't lie about your background to absolve yourself or whatever guilt you're feeling. But in this case, I don't get why he did this. I don't get why he publicized this. I don't know. The guy is out of his mind.
Yeah, of course.
And also, I mean, look, Elizabeth Warren got a lot of heat for claiming that she had, Native American blood. And that was correct. That backlash was correct, in my opinion. But the right wing, quiet, not a big deal. Yeah, one of our own, one of our candidates not only paid for a woman's abortion, not only had all these secret children, not only was an absentee father, not only represents what we are allegedly against culturally, but he also did the thing that we went after Elizabeth Warren for, but he is a Republican candidate, so we're just gonna pretend like this isn't happening.
Yeah, I want to fervently agree with you and then disagree with you slightly on two things.
No, not allowed.
So here's the thing that I disagree slightly on. Is that, it's not allowed. Okay, I'll move on to the thing I agree.
Thank you.
Okay, no, seriously, look, I don't really care. I don't care if he claims that he's part Native American and Elizabeth Warren claims she's part Native American. They heard it from their parents. Who cares? It's like the smallest little, it's not even quite a lie because in Herschel Walker's case, he makes it a lie for no reason by being so specific about it. But if he just said, hey, I heard from my mom that we're part Native American, part Cherokee, who cares? Have at it, Hoss. Elizabeth Warren says, hey, I heard from my uncles and dad, whatever, that we're Native American. Okay, who cares?
No, but I do care. The reason why I care is because they're saying this in the context of political campaigning, meaning they think it's gonna be beneficial to them politically for some reason. And if it's a lie, it's a lie, it's an issue.
No, but the thing is, that's why I'm giving both Walker and Warren a tiny bit of a pass here, because it's not fully a lie. Both of their family members did say that they're part Native American.
Like my parents,
or they think they might be.
Everyone's parents say all sorts of crazy things about their family's history and how triumphant they were and the amazing things they did. And it turns out that most of it isn't even really true. Right? Everyone wants to feel good about themselves. Like you don't repeat tall tales your parents tell you when you're out there campaigning. What are you doing?
Of course they do, they're politicians. Okay, but so I hear you. But now let me go to the fervent agreement. The right wing, when Elizabeth Warren did, they're like, yeah, blood, right? And then remember what Trump called her, Pocahontas, right? So is he now calling Herschel Walker Sitting Bull? Which would be pretty apt, okay? So nope, not Trump, not any Republican. They're like, hey, it's fine. You always, hey, you know what? You're supposed to lie about your Native American heritage, okay? And you're supposed to have your mom call you a liar and your son call you a liar. That's what you're supposed to do, okay? Logic not required. Okay, they're the right wing. Finally, to be fair to Herschel Walker, he said today that he's 78% Filipino, so it's all moot. Okay.
Well, he's a Republican, so that's okay.
Yeah.
He can claim whatever he damn well pleases.
He also said he was 47% Korean.
Did he really say
no,
that?
But it's not, but by the way, like I have to clarify that I'm joking with it because with Herschel Walker, you never know.
You never know, you never know. Anyway.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.